So, the title of this video is Your Kids Will Bring Home What You Hate. Just watched the video on, and I've seen this story. I didn't realize it had gained so much traction. But this is the story of Ethan. I'm not really sure of his last name. I think maybe Lindenberg or something. I'm not sure. But your children will bring home whatever you hate. And his story is his parents never got him vaccinated. So once he turned 18 years old, he got himself vaccinated. He did the research. He's a very, very articulate young man. It's amazing. He sounded better actually than the newscasters. He was on a news show and he sounded better than them. He need his own news show. This little boy this young man rather, is phenomenal. And he's against his mother. They had him out in Congress. I didn't know they were going to do that. They brought him out, and I don't know how that became a thing, but parents take you to Congress. But anyway, they took him to Congress, and his mom had to present her story, and she was using a bunch of misinformation. And this boy, he fact-checked the hell out of her on national television. That would be so embarrassing as a parent to have your child get on TV and fact-check the shit out of you. Please, if my children listen, don't ever do that to me. I'll whoop your ass. But anyway, so yeah, he's very phenomenal, but he got himself vaccinated. But what's important, or what's relevant, is he's a child of 5. There are 5 of them, so he's concerned about his younger siblings not having vaccinations, and because measles is on the rise again, and I don't know why they thought that that measles was eradicated, but we ain't cured no diseases since polio. But anyway, I mean, that concerns me. I mean, I know it when I was a child. We were concerned about chicken pox and measles, and that's something that my grandchild, and I love my granddaughter to get to forever. I wouldn't want her to have to go through measles if she didn't have to, or go through any disease or condition that she shouldn't have to as a child, or any kind of harm, or maybe her even spread. It's just not about the child itself getting the disease. It's about the child carrying the disease to other children. I wouldn't want that to happen. I think Dream just left me a comment. I didn't know he was watching, but I can't see the comments. Yeah, I can't read your comments, son. You have to text it to me on Facebook, or so I can read it better on there. But anyway, but that's important. That's important. You do a good job as, and I'm not saying, and nor did the child, nor did Ethan say, his parents are horrible and they're this. He just said they're misinformed. And it's a lot of people that are targeting groups of people like his parents and with misinformation. It's not just on vaccinations. It's on all kind of everything across the spectrum. Vaccinations, politics, education, border crossing. It's a lot of information out there. That's the downside to the social media world that we live in. It's not being used to help the people. It's used to hurt the people, unfortunately. And that's a historical concept. Propaganda is the most powerful weapon on the planet. And it always has been. It always has been. More powerful than a nuclear weapon is propaganda. A damn flyer will do more damage than a nuclear weapon, and that's a shame. And that's the power of information, good and bad. Good information can free a people. Bad information can destroy people's lives for generations. And that's not a black or white issue. That's just a historical reality. And the Egyptians, if you go back to ancient times, the Egyptians understood the power of iconography. That's why they developed hieroglyphics. A lot of iconography in the hieroglyphics. And that pattern has followed mankind ever since. Iconography, propaganda. Anytime the United States wants to go to war, before we go to war, before we send anybody with a gun, we send flyers. We create a campaign of misinformation. This has been true forever. This has been going on ever, at least in the history of the United States. The United States has always used propaganda that way. They want to try to get the people believing things that aren't true to try to sway them. So that way we can come in with our army and pretend or masquerade, I guess is a better word, that we're there to save them. Listen, if it wasn't no oil in Iraq, we would have never win. The first or the second damn time. We would have never win. And I'm sorry, I keep ducking my head down. I'm trying to read. People sending me stuff, so I try to read what they're saying. But that's a powerful concept. Misinformation. And it's sad, in today's world, it's easy to get informed. It's easy to re-educate yourselves. Not educate yourselves, because if you're online and you're reading, obviously you have some form of education. But the problem is the education was designed to do a certain thing. And that's, again, it's not a black and white issue. It was designed to keep us divided. And this has been going on since Bacon's Rebellion. This has been going on since the colonies. Okay? You tell people lies and falsehoods to get them, the plutocrats, to get them to do what they want us to do. Which is basically keep money in their pocket. That's what it's all about. But the little boy was just fascinating, and the little boy was amazing. So I'm going to share the link to the video. And, this is a short video. I'm not going to make this long. But I just thought it was worthy. Again, people think I only speak on black issues. And the little boy's a white boy. I'm pretty sure you can guess that by what I'm saying. But it's not about that. It's just about misinformation. We got to educate ourselves. That is very important. Very important. So check out the clip of the boy Ethan Lindenberg, I believe. To me, I was very impressed with him. He was well spoken and very articulate, very intelligent, and more so than the Parkland shooter kids. I know all the news stations try to make it, those kids they were this and they were that. They were just regular kids to me. But this kid seemed a little special. Only one of those Parkland kids seemed that way to me. Maybe two of them, the gay girl, and it was a white boy. He was a little bit old. He was like a senior or what. I can't remember his name either. He was very good as well. That boy would probably be a politician in a year or two. He was good. But this boy here is equally as good. He's from Ohio. But whatever you hate, your kids will bring home. So if you hate black people, guess what? Your daughter's coming home with a white man and your son's coming home with a white girl. Okay? If you hate whatever, if you hate police, your son is going to become a policeman. If you hate white people, your son is coming home with a white girl or a black girl. We got to stop hating. You can dislike things. I usually try to educate myself. This is why I don't have any problems with my children, with their white friends. I have no problems at all, never have. As pro-black as I am, you can be pro-black and still get along with white people. It's not about that. I, in fact, think we as people, we going back to Bacon's Rebellion, that's how they do. This country has been divided since the beginning. And that was by design by the plutocrats to keep money in their pocket and keep us divided. That's what it's done. That's what it's done. It was a design. We got to start as black people, as working black people and working white people, working brown people, working yellow people, whatever color you are, whatever nationality you come from. We got to stop allowing people to divide us. We got to stop allowing that to happen. And the way you break, and I'm going to give you a solution. I'm not just going to tell you the problem. I need a haircut, y'all. I'm not just going to tell y'all the problem. That's the problem. The solution is to talk to each other. You got to talk. Because a lot of white people don't like us and don't know us, have never talked to a black person really, have really never engaged. And I'm not going to say talk. Yeah, you said hello with the Walmart or whatever. I'm talking about engage. You got to engage people with communication. But we live in our bubbles. All of the black people in the country pretty much live in the East Coast or the West Coast. In the major cities on the East Coast and in California on the West Coast. Most of the white people live in a bubble in the middle. And they never really have the percentage. If you look at some of these states and some of these cities in the Midwest, the percentage of black people is sometimes less than 1%. So they form opinions based, and then they're constantly pumped. They're watching Fox News and reading these conservative blogs and nonsense, like the little white boy said, these unsighted websites that's pumping them full of false information. And that's going over generations. And it just didn't just start. This has been going on since the beginning. They've been pumping us full of false information about the other. And we have black people do it too. You have a lot of misconceptions about, all white people are evil and, all they're against me. And no, that's not true. There are a lot of good white people out there too, black people. You need to communicate with them and find them and talk to them and keep them and let them help you, because you're going to need white people too. We can't do this by ourselves. We can't. They outnumber us significantly. So if going to be any kind of progress in this country, you're going to have allies. You're going to have communication with your allies. There are people that's on your side, or maybe that's not the way to say it. There are people who aren't against you and who will help you. But they got to know how to help us. If they've never talked to you and they never lived your life and your truth, you have to tell them what that is so they have more information so they can better engage us. We have to know their truth. We're bombarded with it from the time we're in kindergarten for the rest of our lives. Okay, we know white people's truth more the times better than we have to, just to survive, better than they know it themselves. But they don't have to know ours. So we can't rely on the federal government or any kind of government to give that information to them. They're not. You just see with the little white boy Ethan, they wouldn't even give his parents, nobody, and it wasn't just the government, but the system collectively wasn't ensuring that his mother had the proper information. And some of that is her responsibility too, because the information is freely available because her son found it. But we have to combat that because people learn on different levels. Some people are visual, some people are verbal, and some people are a combination. So we got to find ways to engage each other, understanding that premise. That we can't just tell people stuff, because that may be not how they learn. That may be a verbal person. That may be a written person. So if you're trying to be verbal with a written person, they're not going to get what you're saying. And vice versa. If you're trying to be communicate on a written level with a verbal person, they're not going to get what you're saying. It's a breakdown. And that's just a disconnect. Or if it's a combination, learner like myself, I need to hear both. Like, I don't like just going to a lecture. I never, even in college, I didn't like that. Just going to a lecture and I need to take notes. I need to, in my form of notes, I got a different form of notes, but I had to do what worked for me. And there was some professors that I went to that were all written, and they never engaged us with a lecture. I wanted that lecture as well. So, but you got to find what works for that person. And you as an individual need to understand what your learning mode is. That's why a lot of y'all wasn't very good students, because you never understood what your learning mode is. I understood. I had a teacher that pointed it out to me at an early age. I was lucky. A lot of people don't have those good teachers, especially nowadays. A lot of them gone. But you have to start finding out on what medium you learn on and communicate on, so that way you can instruct people how to communicate with you and you can communicate more effectively to them. But stop hating stuff. Stop hating people. Let me say that. Stop hating, because that's where a lot of it comes from. Hate, blame, whatever your problem is, you blame it on another group of people, which in some of it is absurd. It just makes no sense. Oh, all the blacks and Mexicans, they're taking my jobs. And at the same time, blacks have a ridiculously high unemployment rate. Browns have a ridiculously high unemployment rate. Significantly higher, 3-5 times higher than their white counterparts. Okay? Black people, stop blaming white people for all of your problems. Okay? It's not every white person's fault why you have certain things going on. You got to take some responsibility on that level too. Okay? But whatever you hate, your children will bring home. That's just a fact of the matter. That's been proven time again. If you hate gay people, your children are going to be friends with gay people. It happens. That's what's been happening. Stop hating, because your children will pay you back. And they may not directly tell you, but I guarantee they're experimenting and reaching out to whatever you claim you hate, and you've been preaching hate all their lives. They're reaching out to it.